Now that is a big fireworks store.
Hey everybody, it's Mark the Lost Traveler. And we're ready to travel. Look at the size of this place. This is in Bristol, Tennessee, and we're just about 5 miles south of Bristol, Virginia. And so what are we gonna do today? Just run around Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia.
We're gonna take a look at the South Holston Dam. I guess here by the dam can be pretty dangerous at times. Flashing lights, sounding a siren means rising and dangerous waters. Keep away. Welcome to the Ocala Island Recreational Area. All these Canadian geese enjoying a little early morning breakfast here at the dam. Beautiful sunrise this morning as the fog lays over top of the water there. This water is really clear. Take a walk over that bridge over there. Really nice park here. As we're walking over to the bridge, you have these picnic tables with barbecue grills. Come out here in the evening or maybe afternoon lunch. As I was walking across the bridge here, I asked that gentleman right there what kind of fish are in the water here, and he said brown and rainbow trout. Just after you come off the bridge, you can start right there at the 0 mile marker and take the loop around to right here, 1.5 mile loop. Well, here's the outflow from the dam. There's the control center right here. I'm not really sure what this big silo or tube is. Of course, there's the dam. As you know, dams come in all shapes, sizes, forms. This is just rock piled on top of rock. And we're gonna drive up there eventually. And then here's the power plant. We have made it to the top of the dam. Boy, what a view of the mountains there. A couple guys out there fishing in their boat. We'll just walk across the street. And wow, we are a long way up here. Still not sure what that thing is right there. If somebody knows, leave a comment below. We're at the Trailwater Trailhead, if that made any sense. There's 5 different trails just down from the dam that you can take. The Burton Trail is 1.5 miles. The Burton Trail cut through is 0.2 miles. The Tidewater Trail is 0.5 miles. The Emmett Trail is 1.1 miles. And the Ocala Island Trail is 1.8. These 5 guys here are about to do a little trout fishing. Coming down from the dam here. There's steel grates in the water here. I guess that's what makes this current right here. That's pretty neat seeing the dam there and the water and those little waterfalls and everything. Too bad we didn't see any brown trout or rainbow trout caught by those fishermen, but you need time and patience to fish, and those guys look like they had a lot of time and patience. So now we're gonna head up into the city of Bristol and walk around there. Welcome to Bristol, Virginia, founded in 1850. Birthplace of country music, 1927. Welcome to Virginia. So now we just walked across the street right in front of this giant guitar, and we are now in Tennessee. And then right here at this intersection is State Street. And you can see the state flags. On the left is the Virginia state flag, and then on the right is the Tennessee state flag. I wonder if this guitar plays a note. There's strings on here. Nope, nothing. Just gonna take a walk around State Street, and here at the Paramount Theater, it's the Beatles versus the Stones, October 1st. Virginia state flag, Bristol rhythm, roots, all about the music. Well, I'm going to attempt to cross the street without getting hit because there's an interesting plaque right here in the middle of the street. One side Virginia, now we're gonna cross over into Tennessee. And we are now in Tennessee. Same thing on this side, Bristol rhythm roots, all about the music and the Tennessee flag. That is pretty neat. Just cross the street. This guy is greeting you to the Home Trust Bank here on the Virginia side. I'm waiting to hear him play a tune, but I don't think so. The famous Bristol Good Place to Live, Virginia and Tennessee sign. And this building here used to be the Bristol Supply and Equipment Company back in 1946. And now it's called the Lost State Brewery. Right off Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard is the Bristol Union Railway Station. Historic Bristol train station. Bristol Union Railway Station, 1902, put on the National Register of Historical Places back in 1980. I just talked to a nice young lady and says we can go walking inside, so that's what we're going to do. This is now converted into an events hall. This part right here used to be where the passengers would wait for the trains. The clock was donated by Ernest Fisher Sr. back in 1935, and he was the Norfolk Western Yardmaster. They had a room here where men can get their shoe shined. Came up on the second floor, and this ladder, I guess, was a lookout on top of the station, but now it just leads to the ceiling and nothing's up there. They closed it in.
That was a long train, plus it had to stop for a crew change, and so they were here. Well, I'm sure the people who were waiting at the crossbucks weren't too happy, but I'll put a link below so you can watch the entire train footage if you like.
Hopefully the glare is not too bad, but the Norfolk Western Railway and the Southern Railway, Eastern Standard Time, the date September 15th, 1951, arrivals and departures.
Birthplace of Bristol. The town of Bristol was planned and laid out by Joseph Ray Anderson back in 1852. Well, this was the birthplace of country music in Bristol here, radio station, but it has moved across the street at the museum over in Bristol, Virginia. Another big guitar in front of this museum, but what museum is this? At the corner of Cumberland Street and Moore Street sits the Birthplace of Country Music Museum. Let's go take a walk inside, and this is also affiliated with the Smithsonian. All these pictures on the wall here were from a man named Marty Stewart, who also was a musician, and his mom got him into photography. So as he traveled the world playing his music with a lot of country stars, he also took photos. Marty carried his camera all over the world for 20 years. It's a Nikon FE camera with a Nikkor 50mm lens. This is a Fender Telecaster, 1972. This pink palsy Fender Telecaster was used by Marty Stewart in performances and recordings back in 1990 to 1999. All of Marty's guitars had a name, and this one was called Connie Smith. I'll try to do a few of these without the glare. This is from 1994, Loretta Lynn, Blue Kentucky Girl, done at the Rhine Auditorium in Nashville, Tennessee. This is Johnny Cash's last portrait of September 8th, 2003 in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Right next to that picture is the last meeting between Johnny Cash and Merle Haggard in the year 2000 at Cash's Cabin Recording Studio. Willie Nelson, 1994 at Universal Amphitheater in Los Angeles, California. Emmylou Harris in Milan, Italy in 1995. Below it reads, "Baby, your grandpa was a man named Hank Williams." And of course that is Hank Williams Jr. and his daughter Katie back in 1995. Now we'll take a head into the Performance Theater where they have live shows on screen though, not live as in person. first early sounds. This is an Edison GEM cylinder phonograph, and it was dated back in the 1900s. This wall here, they have a timeline starting in 1852 and working their way down to 1938. Just some of the highlights here. 1852, Joseph Anderson has 100 acres certified, which will become the town of Bristol. (1865) the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery is ratified. 1886, the Statue of Liberty is dedicated in New York. 1903, the Wright brothers take off the first powered flight. The Titanic sinks in 1912. Stock market crashes back in October 24th of 1929. 37, the Hindenburg crashes in New Jersey. In 1964, Tennessee Ernie Ford won this Grammy for Best Gospel Recording. This is the sheet arrangement for 16 tons by Tennessee Ernie Ford. That's not a very good shot, but that's his contract. Back then it was just one sheet, unlike today where it's probably 30 or 40 sheets. There's the album. The rest of the music sheet, 16 tons. The Bristol Sessions and Circles of Success. These were all the recordings done at the Bristol studios. Giant record played in the middle here. Just touch the screen, put on your headset, and listen to the music sessions back in 1927. A lot of vintage guitars and fiddles and banjos. This guitar right here was played for the 75th anniversary of the Bristol Sessions back in 2002 and was also played at the Grand Ole Opry. June Carter Cash, Janet Cash, Loretta Lynn are some of the few signatures on there. This is called a harp guitar. Down there from left to right we got a fiddle, banjo, harp, auto harp, picture of a man playing the bones. There's a mandolin. At the bottom is called a Jew's harp and kazoo. A working radio station also, WBCM, the birthplace of country music radio, and they'll also do live performances on here. We have a Victor radio, a Victor 45 record player, a Zenith transistor radio, 8-track player from 1970 by Panasonic, a Sony cassette player, Sony CD player, and one of the earliest MP3 devices from 2002. You can go in here and do a sing-along station and record your voice along with the song. I don't think we're going to do that. And as we depart the building here, will the circle remain? John Carter Cash. Back out to this large sculpture. As I was driving around, I saw this cool park here with a lot of sculptures, so we're just going to walk around and see what we can find. And this first one is Take the Stage. This memorial with the eternal flame is in remembrance of the veterans of the military services of the United States. As you're walking around the park here, there's all these pavers of people who have been in the wars, and I found this guy right here, Cecil L. Vist. He was in World War II, the Korean War, and in Vietnam. This lone chair is called You Are Not Forgotten, and it was dedicated by Rolling Thunder of Tennessee Chapter 4. You are not forgotten. Since World War I, more than 92,000 American soldiers are unaccounted for. This unoccupied seat is dedicated to the memory of those brave men and women and to the sacrifices each made in serving this country. God bless you. God bless America. For an anti-armor and close support attack helicopter. Captain Ron Timberlake. That Episcopal church built in 1862 looks like something out of medieval times. I found Elvis, but his name is Matt Elvis Dollar in concert. Well, what I always do when I'm in town, ask the locals where good barbecue's at if you're in that barbecue belt. And they say go to Eats on Moore Street, E-A-T-Z.
Mark Canny, Eats on Moore Street, Bristol, Virginia, 17 Moore Street.
Look at that, people. That is some good ribs right there.
#1 restaurant in Bristol.
#1 restaurant in Bristol?
Yes, sir.
On the Virginia side.
In the city.
In the city.
In the city. In the city. Old-fashioned scratch.
Man.
Catfish, barbecue, Jamaican jerk, black beans and rice, collard greens, the whole shebang.
Nice. Thanks very much.
Yes, sir.
Well, that was some pretty good ribs. Of course, the battery ran out the time I got in there and after I read the menu. So we're fully charged. So just before we leave the town there of Bristol, Virginia and Tennessee and go off to a few more places, there's one more interesting place I'd like to show you that I read about. This is East Hill Cemetery Historic Burial Grounds. During the Civil War, Bristol was a strategic location on the East Tennessee and Virginia Railroad. The Confederate Medical Corps established hospitals in town, which soon became an important medical center. Wounded soldiers were brought by rail from battlefields in the region, and those who did not survive were buried here at East Hill in small plots. Well, before we head off to the two sites I want to show you, the 16.7 acre East Hill Cemetery is divided by the Tennessee and Virginia state line, and the first person was buried here in 1857, but the graveyard was not officially designated a cemetery until 1868. Here's a little hint of where we're going to go. The first burial in the East Hill Cemetery was a 5-year-old girl in 1857. Since that time, there have been approximately 4,000 burials, including the founder of Bristol. So once you come through the main gate, just keep going straight and follow the road all the way around. Don't do any turns, just follow the way the road goes. As you come to the end here, take a right on Bud Phillips Drive. And that will lead you onto this gravel road. You think you're not going anywhere, but it will take you to where we want to go. So you just keep on going. It looks like you might come to a dead end, but stop and take a look at the left here on the side. And you'll see this large tree on the west end, along with this plaque, and it will say, First Burial in East Hill Cemetery. And that's where you want to go. And then off to the right, there's another plaque. You want to head down to that, and another interesting site. Nellie Gaines was the first person ever buried here at East Hill Cemetery. She's only 5 years old, 1852 to 1857. And just over her grave is this plaque here, First Burial in East Hill Cemetery. She was only 5 years old. Then below that, well, this is really interesting. They had a slave section of the East Hill Cemetery. And apparently there was a man named Cy Goodson who died in 1862, reportedly at the age of 132. And right behind the sign is the slave section here. Well, I think that's going to do it for me today. It was kind of nice out this morning at 67 degrees over at the dam. I thought we might get lucky and see a brown or rainbow trout, but we didn't get to do that. Then headed into town, which was really nice to go down State Street, where one side was Virginia, the other side was Tennessee, and saw a few sights along the way, the train depot, the museum, and the cemetery there. So that's going to do it for me today. We'll head on down the road and see what else we can find. And on that note, traveler out.